Happy Sunday. We are here to do the energy forecast for this week, and I can tell you it does not disappoint. Get ready, everybody, as we're in for another hell of a ride. Here we go. But before I get to the forecast, I do have one announcement I want to share with you. My next live is going to be Friday, April the 19th at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I've got the banner there, popping it up there. It's going to be about what happened to Kamala, and I'm going to be talking about all the information I've got about her from the moment that she was tapped up to current. I'm going to be going over psychic readings, channels, pendulum checks, the larger picture with her. This was something that I wanted to do in the last live in between getting cut out and just realizing I had far too much information to cover. I realized this was a second event. So I'm doing it. So we're going to circle back and give her the attention she deserves and give us the attention we deserve with her, just to kind of cover everything before we move on into this landscape that Spirit Team is talking about, how we are the co-creators of our own freedom. They really talked with me about that on the last pendulum check. If you have not seen my pendulum check, go check that out, because that's where Spirit Team begins to really focus in and talk about how we are the creators of our own freedom and our collective consciousness. All of us moving together lockstep in one direction as a globe is going to be so important at this point. And that the D to the T is the person and his people are the people that are coalescing this whole entire movement that is so important to the creation of how we unfold as a human race here on this globe from now and here on out. So my event, you can see the banner here, go through on my link tree, it's up at the top, or go to my website, www.somaticbunny.com. It's over on the group tab. Sign up for it. You can check out this new venue, this new way of how I'm going to be doing lives here for a while. We're going to try this out, see how this works. Go check it out, sign up. And I hope to see you at the live on Friday. And remember, I'm doing this on Friday night because the protest is going to be on the 19th, the next day, and I want to free up that time space for anybody who wants to get there. All right, so let me turn the camera around and let's go ahead and get to this forecast for this week. It is a doozy. Take a look at this, folks. This is the week that we are finishing up here, and I forgot to get this in the last time. Full Moon Sunday. Nobody tipped me off on this. I was kind of surprised. Full Moon Sunday. So as I'm releasing this, we are in the space of a full moon. All right. Now, coming through now into this week, this is what this week is looking like. It is no slouch. And yes, there is a lot going on, and I have quite a bit to parse out here for you guys. But let's start with the theme first. I think the main highlights that I want to point out to you is that we've still got conjuncts going on, and they are connecting up into sextiles. So that's all going. There's going to be a certain churn with that. And then take a note of this. Everything goes direct. Everything is direct. So this is kind of like no holds barred, woohoo, out of the gate. But then we've got 3, count them, 3 sign changes. And the feeling then coming from this week, as far as the energy, I literally felt like, to me, being a girl from Eastern Colorado, I literally looked at this and I was like, holy cow. It was kind of like, get your hand on the pommel and get your hand up, because we are riding the buck and bronc this week. Like, that's the feeling that it has. But I don't think we have to write out the week like this, all right? But I just want to let you know that, like, if you find yourself in the middle of the week going, oh my God, or if there's other people who are in this whole windmill thing and you're like dodging other people's windmills, that's kind of the week that we got. Your ace in the hole for the week is really trying to find your grounded space. That's going to be it. The other funny ha-ha that I had coming into this, like when Spirit Team started showing me the themes on this, I literally started hearing the Bon Jovi song, hey, we're halfway there. So that was my first energy impact when I started looking at this week and listening to Spirit Team. But I think I can find the happy medium for you guys. So let me swing the camera around again. Let's take a look at the happy medium place. Okay, so theme-wise, we've got, it's a hell of a ride. There's going to be good, bad, ugly, and we're going to come out on top. And, you know, I would say, like, if you find yourself riding the bucking bronc, I want you to know that your ace in the hole is sun headed into Taurus this week. So this is yourself headed into very earthy, grounded land. So if you feel like you're on the ride, just know that you've got this. Like, I once had an astrologer say to me, she was like, her name was Carol, and Carol said, she's like, Dana, whenever you look at a chart, no matter how challenging it is, you always want to look for kind of like the out or the answer. And I believe the answer this week is Sun headed into Taurus, because we've got a lot of energies that are going to push us around. But this Sun into Taurus is going to give us our ability to anchor into the earth tones and be grounded. And that is going to be incredibly helpful. So let me show you a little bit about what's going on here. So remember, Venus goes direct here, and that takes a bit of a time to turn. And she really is going to get her momentum starting here. And that's where I said everything is direct. So we're going to have this feeling of like, oh my God, we can motor forward, we can do things. But guess what? Look what we do. We go into a sign change. Mercury heads back into Aries. So that's going to be a lot of voicing with some emphasis, with a little bit of fire and passion. So we're going to have our voice. And then 2 days later, oh my God, Mars goes into Leo, another sign change. And so to me, when you put Mars into Leo, that's just Mars on steroids. That is like Mars of action, Mars of argument, Mars of war is like, let me be robust about it. That's kind of a bit of the buck and bronc ride there. And then the Sun decides to go into Taurus. I think this is going to cool things off a little bit, simply because this is the center of ourselves headed into a grounded state. That is going to be really important. But, we're going to kind of ruin the party, because Sun is going to square up with Mars right as it's crossing into Leo. The drama on this is just huge. Now, take a look at this. I finally, I'm getting, every time I do one of these, I get a little bit better and a little bit better. I want to point out that we are not done with the conjuncts. So is the direct motion and sign change with a squares going on. We're still cranking out a conjunct. We're cranking out Venus conjuncting with North Node conjuncting with Saturn, which is an important part of the theme that is a continuation from all that we were doing here last week, right? And then what I finally put together this week was as North Node, Saturn, and Venus are conjuncting, there's also a sextile going on with Uranus. So not only are they conjuncting, they're also, at the same time, Venus, North Node, and Saturn are doing a sextile with Uranus. So Uranus is weighing in on this conjunct. And what's Uranus? Uranus is about surprises and lightning bolts and awakening. And where's Uranus sitting? It's sitting in Taurus, that the Sun is headed into as the Sun squares up with Mars. So do you see the windmills going on? I mean, there is just a lot of energy, a lot of activity, a lot going on here. And then we've got Mars trining up with Neptune. And at the very end of the week, Lilith is going to come in with an inconjunct with Mercury, as Mercury is sextile and freaking Pluto. Guys, there's a lot going on this week. There's no two ways around it. There's a lot going on this week. So it's going to be really important that as you head into the new week, that you've got your wits about you, that you're grounded, that you don't rush or race off into anything, because you could really just get caught up in something, and before you know it, you're landed on your ass somewhere else. The top side of this, however, the top side of it is that if you are conscious and calculated and grounded, you can use this energy to your favor. This energy you could use to really get something done, or really blow something open to the top side. It's got that kind of energy of underneath with the conjunct and the sextile with Uranus, that's kind of like a breakdown area. But this other stuff with the sign changes and Mars and Mercury, it's got breakthrough to the top side written all over it. And so we've got that bucking bronco thing going on. So if you want to roll the dice and take your chances, you can get on that bucking bronco, and you might just have the ride of your life into a new space, new breakthrough, which would be totally cool. And you're going to have to be careful with that. And if you don't think you can do it, guess what? Sun into Taurus is going to be your ace in the hole, but you're going to have to be very careful because Mars is connecting up into that as it's headed into Leo, and it could be kind of fiery. So, like, you know, this is definitely a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other week. And I think this is going to cause our national scene to capitulate in a whole brand new way. So just kind of be prepared for that as well. Now that we've covered all that, let's go ahead and head up into the cards. I do have the meaning right up over here, but we're not quite there yet. So let's get up into the cards. And for anybody that's new or just a refresher, remember these cards come from my Somatic Money Oracle deck. This deck is available for $79. This deck is available for $59. This is my first edition. This is my second edition. This is the one that's polished and edited up and really beautiful. This has got a few quirks in it, but it's a really great deck. And these decks basically encapsulate my entire Somatic Money system that I am working to get online. And here, I want to share with you the cards. I thought was really interesting about the card pulls this week is the first card I pulled was Shatter Your Witch Wound. When I look at this from the collective, this tells me that this is going to be a great week to have breakthroughs with your throat chakra. Why is that? Well, look we got Mars headed into Leo, which is about big passion. And even though we're grounded with the sun is squaring up with that Mars headed into Leo. So there's a lot of churn of really powerful energy. And at the same time, we've got Mercury sextiling with Pluto. We've got also Mercury trining up with Mars. And we've got Mercury conjunction. So we've got Mercury. So Mercury is playing a big role here, as well as Mercury is moving into Aries, which means Mercury, your throat chakra, your voice, your logistics is going to be really passionate about speaking up, as Mars is headed into Leo, creating a lot of action and energy into passion. You put these two together, and you are going to be able to break through your throat chakra blockages, especially your inner insecurities with your intuition. This week has written all over it breakthroughs, shattering through and having those breakthroughs in the places where you have clamped down on your inner self. And this is going to be a great week to break through all of that. Now, what's interesting is the second card that came along is the card about your money story and what money words are on the tip of your tongue. This indicates to me, Mercury. What are you talking about? What are you saying? What are the words going on? How are you using them to speak up for yourself in ways that you might not have been able to do before? Great week to do this. And then on the very back end of this card was about solving the money noodle bowl, and it's about taking a look at your money or your life from the EQ perspective. And I pulled a follow-up card to get more clarity on it, and it was like financial carrot, where is your EQ money working? And this is all an indicator that your breakthrough here and your speaking up here has got to be anchored in your emotional intelligence. If it is not anchored in your emotional intelligence, it's probably not going to work out very well. And so that is going to really anchor you into this Sun into Taurus earth tone, because if you can stay anchored here and stay focused on what's going on with your emotional intelligence, I think you're going to be able to work through this week a lot better and have the breakthroughs that you want to be able to have. So, folks, very cathartic week, hell of a ride. There's going to be good, there's going to be bad, there's going to be ugly, and there's the strong potential to really come out on top with breakthroughs. And just remember, Bon Jovi, we are riding on a prayer this week. We are riding on a prayer this week. So let's go ahead and move over and take a look at the meanings, okay? And now that I am over here, I've had a couple people begin to ask me about, Dana, could you make your paperwork available for me? Because so much of what you do, I really rely on it and I want to have it through the week. And so I'm going to begin to do that. So you see the banner, go through my link tree, and you're basically going to be picking up PDF snapshot. You'll get these 2 pages right here, and you'll also get a photo snapshot of these as well. So you have that for your entire week to be able to work through. Let's go ahead and slow things down and take a look at the meanings here, just so you can kind of have an idea of what's going on. Now remember, everything is direct, so there are no breaks right now. We need to be really aware of that. Okay. Mercury is going to move into Aries, and that is a bold and direct approach to communication and thought. Then right behind that, we've got Mars headed into Leo, and that is a time of passionate pursuits and a desire to lead with heart and courage. The other thing I would say here is this might also amp up arguments and or wars. So we have to be very careful about how we are using our words coming through Aries as it pairs up with Mars in Leo. And we've got the ally of Sun into Taurus, and this is going to be grounding. This is about how your core personality and expression is grounded, sensual, and focused on security. So this is where you're going to be able to bring things back to earth. Then these 2 things are working together. Remember, sextiles going on here, conjunct going on here, all with Venus, North Node, Saturn, and Pisces. This is the sextile with Uranus and Taurus, and this is the conjunct. These 3 are the conjuncting in Pisces. So the sextile. So when Venus, North Node, Saturn, and Pisces are sextile in Uranus and Taurus, this is about a journey into greater creativity, emotional depth, and spiritual growth. Saturn's got the personal boundaries and self-discipline. North Node is about new path, and Venus is about compassion and potentially idealism in that Piscean place. But this all is sextiling up with this conjunct. This is where there is a focus on relationships, and self-care, while also addressing potential karmic patterns and emotional wounds. That's the Saturn piece. So this all right here is going to be churning and grinding, while this all right here is going to be taking off. 2 different energies. All right. So just be aware of where you're at with both of those. Mercury, as it does the sea change from Pisces into Aries, as it trines Mars, while Mars is in the last degree of Cancer, moving into Leo. This is a period of heightened communication, possibly with a focus on emotional understanding and potentially a surge of passion. What did I tell you? Breaking through right there. As you know, we got words on the tip of our tongue. Okay. Then the next one is Mercury as it moves from Pisces into Aries and conjuncts Neptune in Aries. And this is a time for clarity and self-discovery, about revealing hidden truth, encouraging action on dreams, and promote shift into authenticity. Very interesting. Then we've got Mars into Leo, trining up with Neptune in Aries. This is a harmonious blend of creative action and spiritual vision. Oh boy, let's fuel the fire just that much more. Then we've got Mercury in Aries, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, and this is a period of powerful clarity and communication with a focus on breaking through old patterns and embracing new ideas. Oh my God, there's the shatter your witch wound again. Shatter those old things into breakthroughs. Then we've got a Sun in Taurus squaring Mars in Leo, a potential for conflict between your desire for stability and comfort and your need for self-expression and spotlight as Mars roars into Leo and roars with Leo. And then at the back end of this, Lilith in Libra in conjunct with Mercury in Aries, and this is a conflict between your own self-perceptions of you and how you communicate in relationships. Told you guys, it's another big week. It's another big week. But God, there could be so much good stuff in this week. So I just want you to remember that if there's drama going on in your personal life, there's a top side to this. If there's drama going on the national scene, there is top side to this. And the top side is that even if there are breakdowns, there are momentous breakthroughs. Like this week has a lot of energy in it. And I would say use that energy to your benefit. Direct it, channel it, be really clear about that. You know, if all else fails, pull out that Bon Jovi song and sing at the top of your lungs that we are like riding this thing like on a wing and a prayer, and we are holding each other's hands and we are getting through this thing. I will see you out there on the airwaves this week, like quite literally. See you in my next video.